¿Mejor? ¿Sí? Bueno, seguimos calentando motores con la segunda ponencia del día. ¿Sí? Es un honor, bueno, primero presentarme, me llamo Joana Sánchez, soy presidenta de INCIPES Media y fundadora del Instituto de Innovación Digital de las Profesiones. Siempre es un honor para mí presentar a profesionales, a mujeres profesionales y proyectos brillantes, como es este caso. mydeco.com es uno de los principales distribuidores de productos de decoración en el Reino Unido, con más de 5 millones de referencias, con más de 1.500 retailers en ese proyecto. Disponen a los usuarios de servicios para decorar y de herramientas que les permite a los usuarios decorar sus propios espacios, ¿no? Entre ellos hay una estupenda aplicación 3D donde pueden hacer compras y decorar sus casas. Nicole, nuestra ponente de hoy, antes de ser CEO de nuestra compañía, de esa compañía, de mydeco, ha participado, ha tenido diferentes posiciones en Google, en Bebo, y ha sido una de las 100 personas seleccionada como las personas más creativas del mundo en 2011 a través, según Fast Company. Nada más, os invito a que nos relajemos, a que escuchemos y podamos participar del futuro del retail online y de cómo la tecnología está moderando el comercio electrónico. Os presento a Nicole Vanderbilt. Welcome.
Good morning. Buenos dias. That's about the extent of my Spanish. So I echo the apology from the previous speaker that I'm unable to deliver this in Spanish. You'll have to put up with my hybrid American-British English for the next little while. I wanted to start with a big caveat. I was invited to come talk about the future of e-commerce, and the irony is I started my career in the internet doing just that. I started as an analyst at Jupiter Research back in 1996, and when I think about how long ago that seems now, it's incredible. And when I arrived, I was probably the youngest member of the team, and there was a big group of people already in the room, and they were to cover content and music and online advertising. And they said to me, oh, you're new, you're young, you get to cover the little area of e-commerce. You get to cover anything that has to do with a transaction. Because at the time it just seemed unimportant. So we've come a very long way, and I was lucky enough to cover companies like Amazon and Expedia and eBay right from their launch. And I got some things right. You know, I thought Amazon and Expedia seemed like really good ideas. And I got some things wrong. I thought eBay wasn't going to last. So I very quickly realized that in the rest of my career I needed to move on from commenting on other businesses and trying to predict the future and instead try to build something myself. So here I am this morning to talk you through a little bit about what we're building at mydeco and how that sort of illustrates where we see the future of e-commerce and how technology is shaping it. So with that in mind, there are 4 things that we always talk about as a team. One is that e-commerce needs to become more visual. Now, when you think about it, it's pretty amazing that we've gotten as far as we have with these little tiny thumbnails of images and trying to get people to decide to buy something, often of considerable worth, from a tiny little static image is really quite incredible, particularly in our industry. So you've taken a beautiful lifestyle image of a room, and a consumer is supposed to look at an image about that big on their screen and decide if they want to spend 800 pounds on a bed. So I think we look a lot to fashion in this area to look at how this is changing and improving over time. The example that we often talk about at mydeco and look at for inspiration is ASOS. So ASOS, when you go to their site, they've innovated quite a lot. Almost every single product on their site has a catwalk video so that you can see the product on a real person, see how it moves, get a better sense of the product. That has become so core to their business. It's not a nice to have. That's become so core to their business that their office in London actually has those catwalk studios to create those videos in their office. That's how fundamental the visual aspect of e-commerce is for them. The second thing we talk about is social, and there is no denying the 750 million or 900 million, whatever the number is these days, for Facebook, and its importance as a platform, and its importance as social interaction and communication. However, I think we can probably all agree that it hasn't really cracked yet the social aspect of shopping. Now, that doesn't mean that they won't, but we're not there yet. And I think there are two fundamental things we talk about trying to improve and incorporate into our own experience, in addition to doing things on Facebook. One is, when you're looking for inspiration and help with shopping, you don't always want just your friends. You know, I have quite a few friends on Facebook. With all due respect and love to them, I don't share the same taste with many of them. And many of them, I don't really care what they think about the sofa I might buy for my living room. So there's a fundamental disconnect between what's the relevant social graph. I want some small group of my friends. I want some like-minded strangers. I want some experts to interact with me to make those decisions. So that's one aspect of social that we talk about. The other is not making it broadcast. So the paradigm with Facebook and Twitter often today is you do something, it gets broadcast, and it sort of helps with discovery. And there is an important role for that to play. But when I'm pretty far down the funnel and deciding, do I buy this bed or that bed? Do I buy this dress or that dress? I don't necessarily have a need for a broadcast interaction. What I want to know is, who else has considered this bed? Who else has bought this bed? Who else has enjoyed this bed? And are they related to me in some fashion that can make that meaningful? So social is a very big aspect. I think what's exciting for me is to see the growth in it in terms of platforms like Facebook, and yet the huge untapped potential in terms of e-commerce. The third thing is fun. And I think on the internet there's a certain amount of this that goes on. In e-commerce it's primarily around winning. You know, eBay, much to my poor prediction many years ago, has really cornered the market on this. When you win an auction, you win. You get that sense of fun and delight. Now we've moved on to flash sales. So now flash sales are an interesting mechanism where you feel like you've beaten somebody to the punch. You've gotten a good deal. You can see that some other things are in other people's carts, but you grab the thing that you want. So we're slowly getting there. But my strong view with the team when we talk about what we're trying to build at mydeco is to not obsess over conversion. That some of the fun will come from letting people experience more things like traditional shopping, where they can wander around, have some enjoyment, and not always be getting the hard sell. And then last but not least is it's all about the product. And I think, you know, we're as guilty of this as any company, but so many internet companies spend a lot of time about product, meaning your website. And of course that is super important, and it is totally core to the experience that you give a user, but what you're fundamentally selling them matters as well. You know, I can't tell you how many times in my career I've talked to online retailers or e-commerce companies where they could be selling anything. You know, it could have been a widget, it could have been a bed, it could have been a book, and they all talk about it the same way. And if you think about that in terms of the traditional world, that just wouldn't suffice. You wouldn't expect the same details from a bookstore that you would from a furniture store. And you would expect a retailer to spend lots of time making sure that they're getting the right product in front of you. So to tell you a little bit about mydeco, for those of you who don't know us, we're a UK-based VC-backed startup that was founded by much of the same team that founded lastminute.com. So Brent Hoberman, who was one of their co-founders, is our founder and executive chairman. And basically we bring to bear the same sort of approach, which is to say, how can we use technology to help solve problems for consumers? So we think about this as our mission being to help consumers make their homes a place they truly love. We've done research in the UK and in the US that shows that when we ask people, do you think your home reflects who you are? Over 50% of people said no. And so what I always tell the team is fundamentally I think we're in the mission of changing that, of making that, getting a better result. So we break this down into 3 different areas. One is providing consumers inspiration. This is a role that a lot of magazines have traditionally played, but we think that the web and a digital experience can beat. So we have hundreds of thousands of images on our website. Many of them are user-generated. They're searchable by style, by room type, by color. They're easy to share and to save, and importantly, to shop from. The second thing we think about is giving consumers design tools to empower them to make their own decisions about what goes well together, to make their home reflect who they are. And that's what I'll spend most of the rest of the time this morning talking about. And the third thing is the joy of the find. So really, this goes back to the product as well as the online experience, but making a site that's very specific to the needs of someone looking for home furnishings, and helping them find products that aren't the obvious things they would just find on the high street. So why are we in this business? You know, I've done a lot of different roles in the internet space. This is by far my favorite role. I wake up every morning feeling like we're in a good business. You know, your home matters, everyone has a home, everyone deserves to love where they live, and it shouldn't be so hard. A lot of other commercial reasons we're in this business is consumers are making big investments in this area, both in terms of money and, importantly, in terms of time. You know, I think probably the biggest shock to me when I moved to the UK was just the amount of time in media, at dinner parties, you know, you name it, that people spend talking about their homes and about all the work and time they're putting into improving them. The third is that it is fundamentally a social experience. People want to share their experiences. I'm sure you guys have all been with friends who have been either complaining and ranting about a total DIY disaster or taking a point of pride in having had a success. People want to share their experiences. It's about the journey, not just the destination. And we fundamentally think no one is solving for this well on the web. So that's why we've gotten into this business. So how do we help increase engagement? How is our approach different? So there are kind of three use cases that we focus on. One is a pretty typical interior design. So you start with a project. I want to redo my living room. I'm about to have a baby. I am moving home, so I need to get some new furniture for that particular property. The second is a fitting room for furniture. And what's exciting for us compared to fashion is that we have a real opportunity to beat the offline experience very easily. You know, I do not envy those in the fashion business online who are trying to recreate the ability for me to try this jumper on. You know, that's going to be a hard thing to beat in the online world. In the furniture business, you've never been able to have a fitting room for furniture. You know, you can go to the store, you can sit on the chair, you can feel the fabric, you can lie on the mattress, but you aren't able to see it in your own home. You aren't able to put it into context. And that's what we're very much in the business of trying to remedy. And then last but not least, just the simple fundamental improvements in visualizing the product online. So in full 360 degrees, also in colorway variants. Those of you in the fashion and particularly furniture business will appreciate that many products come in a huge array of colors or fabrics. And you rarely have those manufactured, let alone photographed, to show to a consumer. And our investments in 3D are allowing ourselves and our retail partners for the first time to actually demonstrate and help consumers visualize a sofa in 100 different fabrics at a very low marginal cost. So now for some pretty pictures, because that's the business that we're in. To give you an example, to start with a project. This was a forum thread that was started on our site. We had nothing to do with it. I wish we could claim some responsibility for it. But the upper left-hand corner image was posted by a user. And she said, listen, I'm trying to do my bedroom, but I feel like it looks like a boutique hotel moved into a monastery. Very disappointed in this. Can you help? And so over the course of the next couple of weeks, I think we ended up with about almost 60 different permutations of this, because what our tool allows a consumer to do is build their room, and then any other user that comes along can open that room, edit it, redecorate it, refurnish it, rearrange it, and save it as their own. So what we were able to do is provide this user who got a little bit stuck with her own design and really capture some untapped creativity from other users to help her discover different looks. And you can see that they are quite a bit different, some to my taste, some not, but the power of that untapped creativity in visualizing a room is invaluable. We ourselves have orchestrated this on our site as well. So in this case, what we were able to do is persuade personally one of my favorite architects, Richard Meyer, who, for those of you who know him, is pretty famous for his minimalist spaces. We were able to persuade him to let us model one of his spaces in 3D and then let our consumers have a go at decorating it and then win a prize. So that's another way that we can actually have a hand in tapping into this creativity and letting consumers, for the first time, take a famous space and sort of try out their own taste and design talent. And that is probably, we are in a business that's been around for a while. There have been desktop software packages that let you do things in 3D with furniture for some time. But what's different about us is we're entirely web-based. We have 100,000 products modeled in 3D, all real-world product, all available to buy. And as you can see here, we have obsessed over the output. So this is a high-quality render that a user gets from our site. After a user has designed it, a room themselves, they wait a couple of hours and they get back a beautiful high-quality render. So these are just a couple of those that our very talented users have designed themselves. So that's a little bit about the start with a project piece. What I wanted to show you now, and I will bravely try to get to the internet here, is some examples of where we're helping retailers and ourselves demonstrate products in 3D. If I can get this to work. Oh, my impatience getting the better of me. Okay, so these are products that we've taken from retailers and modeled in 3D. I think this was a good example. Normally a furniture retailer would probably not have a sofa of this silhouette created in that fabric. That's probably not their best-selling fabric. They'd probably take it and put it in a nice neutral beige, maybe one bright color, and that would be the end of it in terms of imagery. So what we're able to do is create the geometry in 3D and apply, for a very low marginal cost, additional fabrics to it, so you can see each and every fabric that this sofa comes in come to life. So that is a high-quality render of a 3D model. What we're also able to do is help retailers show this in 360. So we are now creating players and video files, we'll do that again, that help a consumer see the product in its full glory. So it's not rocket science. It's not a million miles away from where we are, but that demonstrable step toward bringing a big piece of furniture to life in a very specific fabric in 3D is, we think, a step in the right direction. So the other thing we do is, this is another example of showing the colorway variants. So in this instance, this retailer had only one of these chairs even made, never mind photographed, and so we were able with our 3D modeling to bring that to life for consumers. So what I thought I would do now is talk you through a case study of one of the retail partnerships we've done to date. So in addition to doing this on our own site, we believe that this visual, social, fun approach to shopping for furniture is important to bring out to the rest of the web. And so we've worked with a U.S. retailer called Design Within Reach. They sell sort of high-end furniture, kind of design classics. They have about 55 stores in the U.S. I was fortunate enough to meet their relatively new CEO a couple of years ago, and he said to me, this thing that Apple have done with retail is amazing, but I don't understand why people in furniture haven't cottoned on to it. It's as complicated, if not more, to buy a sofa or a bed or an armchair that costs you a lot more money than a computer or an iPhone or an iPad. And we should deliver the same kind of service and interaction to our users, to our customers. So what Design Within Reach have done is they have created in their new store formats what they call a design bar. So based on the Genius Bar concept, users can come in and either take an iPad out of the docking station, wander around the room, and design themselves, or they can sit across the design bar with one of the store staff and design together. So it's a pretty powerful tool. And what I will do again is go out to the web to show you how this works.
Designing an iconic modern interior used to require a pricey decorator. Now you can create your own stunning room designs with the new 3D Room Planner from Design Within Reach, powered by mydeco.com. This easy-to-use online tool lets you design with hundreds of real pieces from Design Within Reach. Choosing everything from sofas to lamps, you can create photorealistic images of your dream room featuring the best in modern design. You can find the Design Within Reach 3D Room Planner on DWR.com. You can start by editing a furnished room or upload your own floor plan to automatically create your own room to scale. If you don't have a floor plan, just choose a room shape that looks like yours and customize the walls to match the layout. Next, browse a wide selection of doors and windows and find a match. Now you're ready to start decorating. You'll find thousands of wallpapers.
Ah, the joys of the internet. Sorry about that. Okay, well, I knew that was going to be brave to try to play that from the internet, but hopefully you get a sense of what the tool is capable of doing. That's just a demo video that we've done with DWR that they use in store.
Of wallpapers, paint colors, and flooring, including hundreds of different types of wood, carpet, and tiling. Create a space that looks just...
Okay, we'll give up. You get the idea. So the idea being that you can go in and create your own room pretty quickly, and we've obsessed a lot over not only the final output but also making the starting easy. So hopefully you've seen that in the video. We've actually gotten to the point where you can upload a floor plan if you have that image, and we'll give it back to you in 3D, where we make it very easy for you to draw your own. So it begins to be that fitting room for furniture that I talked about earlier. So the CEO is very excited about this. We have worked with them both by providing this tool in store and on their own website. And in order to measure the impact, we did two things. So measuring the online impact is a bit more straightforward. Measuring the in-store impact, what we did was we did a survey of the store staff. And so I thought I would just share some of those results with you. The main thing being that it is giving their customers in store the confidence to buy. So it is the main two impacts that it's having is the sales are closing 25% faster, as you would expect, and also the average order value is increasing. So it's simply taking people from feeling comfortable buying one thing to buying a little bit more because they can see what they look like together. Here are some of the quotes from the store staff. I think in particular, the quote about the second quote, which is, it helped me as a designer feel more confident when I work with consumers, is a really powerful one. And then in terms of online, this is where the assistance of the tool has had an enormous impact. Leaving somebody to be self-directed in the purchase of a $4,000 sofa is what DWR has been doing to date. However, the tool has really helped this. And so these numbers we have double, triple, quadruple checked because they seem almost inconceivable, but they are accurate. And when you think about it, there's a 141% increase in average order value for those who've used the tool. Now that seems extraordinary, but it literally is the difference between buying one thing and buying 2 to 3 things from Design Within Reach. And it is reasonable to think that that would be what the tool would be helping them to do. When we launched this and I did a press day in one of their stores in New York, the store staff said to me, "Oh, thank you so much for this. Now we don't have to rearrange the store floor all the time." And so it's literally just being able to visualize a couple of things together that's helped. The second thing that it's improved is the repeat purchase rate. So the repeat purchase rate has gone up 66% amongst those who've used the tool, primarily because they are getting further engaged, but also because DWR is now creating switching costs. Once you've had a consumer set their house up on your site, there's a real incentive to go back for your next purchase. A couple of other sort of softer metrics. It's building customer loyalty. What one of the store staff said to us, as you see here, is sometimes they buy more, which is great, but sometimes they buy less. And when they do, it gives us much more credibility with them. It's a tool that is truly useful to the user rather than just about the hard sell. And their customers love it. So they have 93% of their clients are positive or very positive about the 3D designs. And so what that's meant is an ROI of 3x within the first 6 months of launching the 3D Room Planner. And you see here an example of the page that gets sent out to a customer after they've designed the room. So if they've done it in-store, 2 hours later they get an email with the beautiful room in it, with the ability to share it and email it further to their friends. Or even if they've done it online, it provides another contact point to say, here's your beautiful design. So just to wrap up very quickly and to conclude and remind you, these are the things that we're focused on and we think a lot of e-commerce will be about in the future. And there's a lot of really exciting technology to facilitate this. One is it's all about being visual. If you can't picture it vividly and in the context in which you plan to use it, you can't fall in love with it. And for higher ticket items, you need to fall in love with it. Social taste is not about facts alone. You need your friends, like-minded strangers, and experts to help, and not always in a news feed, not always broadcast. You need it at the moment where you're making a decision. Fun, you want customers want to win, not just buy. They want to experience the thrill of the find and not just check out. You know, so much of e-commerce to date has been about helping consumers who already know what they want find the lowest price and buy it. What our mission is at mydeco is to help people decide what they want, to help them when they're further up the funnel and they don't know quite what to do with their living room. And last but not least, it is about the product. It's not just about price. And no amount of whizzy tech features or clever development done by your software developers will ever take the place of sourcing great product. And that is it. Thank you very much. I appreciate you having me here this morning. Thanks.
Thank you. Bueno, sí, es el turno de preguntas. Tenemos posibilidad, como antes, de hacer 3 o 4 preguntas. Tenéis, para hacer las preguntas, tenéis el micro en el centro. Y a ver.
Hola, tengo una pregunta.
Sí, venga.
Hello, Nicole. This is Pedro Rojas, @Senior Manager in Twitter. I have a simple question. How can you measure productivity on any online store? I mean, what works and what's not?
Well, I think one thing that that sounds very obvious but is really important is lifetime customer value. And I think that is what gets you away from this obsession over in-session conversion. I think that's something that's very easy to focus on and is one small metric definitely to assess. But the main thing that we like to look at is lifetime customer value. And particularly in our business, that can sometimes be a long journey. You know, you don't make a decision about a sofa often overnight.
Thank you, appreciate it.
¿Sí, más preguntas? ¿Por aquí? Tenéis que levantaros, por favor, al micro, mejor.
Good morning. My name is Alberto Torres. I want to know what relation you have between the retailers and your company, and who pay the work in 3D, the design of every model, the textures, and the rest of the option for the 3D.
Yeah, it's a really good question. So on mydeco.com, we are currently an affiliate site, which means that we're compensated for passing a lead on to the retailer either on a commission basis or a CPC basis. On our own site, we've developed the library of products. We've invested in that library, and we choose the products editorially. So what do we think are the best products for our consumers so that they have a wide range by category and by price. Now, what we've started to do in the last year is license our 3D room planner, as you saw with Design Within Reach, so that they have their own branded experience and a version of the room planner with only their product in it and all of their product in it. And in that instance, it's them investing in the development of the 3D models. It's a really interesting area. I think we will see with the advent of lots of new technologies that might change over time. I mean, we've really obsessed over getting the models to be as high quality as possible, and hopefully you've seen that this morning. There are other companies like Autodesk who are investing in trying to make it easy and aren't as focused on high quality. So they have a sort of a piece of technology in the lab, as it were, where a consumer can use a camera on a phone, take, I think it's 10 different pictures, and they will stitch it together into a 3D model. Now that 3D model isn't high quality. You wouldn't use that image on a product page, but the development of 3D modeling and the technology behind it is definitely a really exciting area for us.
Thank you.
Hi.
Another question?
Hello. Hi. Thank you for a great presentation. My name is Pablo Larguilla from Red Innova. How about international expansion to new markets such as Spain and maybe Brazil?
Yeah, it's a good question. So with mydeco.com, we are about to relaunch the shopping experience in the UK. So everybody brace yourselves and look for that in November. We're all very excited about that. And once we've done that and sort of fine-tuned that, we'll be taking that internationally, particularly to Western European markets and big emerging markets like Brazil. With the 3D Room Planner license, we are talking to people all over the world. That is a very easy way for us to bring this technology to new markets, as we did with Design Within Reach in the US, and we're having a lot of exciting conversations in many markets around the world with retailers and media companies to do the same.
¿Alguna pregunta más del público aquí? Me han enviado una pregunta anteriormente directamente a Facebook. What is your main competitor in Europe?
That is a good question. We don't per se have a direct competitor. So in the shopping experience area, you might consider Google product search might be a competitor, or shopping.com. But neither of those really bring to life products in 3D. Neither of those really bring to bear any social interaction in your shopping decision. In terms of the 3D Room Planner, we have quite a few competitors, but they tend to focus on a very, with all due respect, sort of lonely experience, which you design one-on-one, and you don't share much of that. And so Autodesk are working in that area. There's a Dutch company called floorplanner.com that are doing some similar work. We're all pretty different in our approach, but there's quite a lot of great, interesting activity in the 3D room planning space.
Okay, ya estamos. No tenemos más tiempo. Thank you very much for your presentation. Y nada más. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks very much.
Y ha sido una de las 100 personas seleccionada como las personas más creativas del mundo en 2011 a través, según Fast Company. Nada más, os invito a que nos relajemos, a que escuchemos y podamos participar del futuro del retail online y de cómo la tecnología está moderando el comercio electrónico. Os presento a Nicole Vanderbilt. Welcome.
Good morning. Buenos dias. That's about the extent of my Spanish. So I echo the apology from the previous speaker that I'm unable to deliver this in Spanish. You'll have to put up with my hybrid American-British English for the next little while. I wanted to start with a big caveat. I was invited to come talk about the future of e-commerce, and the irony is I started my career in the internet doing just that. I started as an analyst at Jupiter Research back in 1996, and when I think about how long ago that seems now, it's incredible. And when I arrived, I was probably the youngest member of the team, and there was a big group of people already in the room, and they were to cover content and music and online advertising. And they said to me, oh, you're new, you're young, you get to cover the little area of e-commerce. You get to cover anything that has to do with a transaction. Because at the time it just seemed unimportant. So we've come a very long way, and I was lucky enough to cover companies like Amazon and Expedia and eBay right from their launch. And I got some things right. You know, I thought Amazon and Expedia seemed like really good ideas. And I got some things wrong. I thought eBay wasn't going to last. So I very quickly realized that in the rest of my career I needed to move on from commenting on other businesses and trying to predict the future and instead try to build something myself. So here I am this morning to talk you through a little bit about what we're building at mydeco and how that sort of illustrates where we see the future of e-commerce and how technology is shaping it. So with that in mind, there are 4 things that we always talk about as a team. One is that e-commerce needs to become more visual. Now, when you think about it, it's pretty amazing that we've gotten as far as we have with these little 900 million, whatever the number is these days, for Facebook, and its importance as a platform and its importance as social interaction and communication. However, I think we can probably all agree that it hasn't really cracked yet the social aspect of shopping. Now, that doesn't mean that they won't, but we're not there yet. And I think there are 2 fundamental things we talk about trying to improve and incorporate into our own experience, in addition to doing things on Facebook. One is when you're looking for inspiration and help with shopping, you don't always want just your friends. You know, I have quite a few friends on Facebook. With all due respect and love to them, I don't share the same taste with many of them. And many of them, I don't really care what they think about the sofa I might buy for my living room. So there's a fundamental disconnect between what's the relevant social graph. I want some small group of my friends. I want some like-minded strangers. I want some experts to interact with me to make those decisions. So that's one aspect of social that we talk about. The other is not making it broadcast. So the paradigm with Facebook and Twitter often today is you do something, it gets broadcast, and it sort of helps with discovery. And there is
¿Mejor? ¿Sí? Bueno, seguimos calentando motores con la segunda ponencia del día. Sí, es un honor, bueno, primero presentarme, me llamo Jemima Sánchez, soy presidenta de INCIPE Media y fundadora del Instituto de Innovación Digital de las Profesiones. Siempre es un honor para mí presentar a profesionales, a mujeres profesionales y proyectos brillantes, como es este caso. mydeco.com es uno de los principales distribuidores de productos de decoración en el Reino Unido, con más de 5 millones de referencias, con más de 1.500 retailers en ese proyecto. Disponen a los usuarios de servicios para decorar y de herramientas que les permite a los usuarios decorar sus propios espacios, ¿no? Entre ellos hay una estupenda aplicación 3D donde pueden hacer compras y decorar sus casas. Nicole, nuestra ponente de hoy, antes de ser CEO de nuestra compañía, de esa compañía, de mydeco, ha participado, ha tenido diferentes posiciones en Google, en Bebo.
Tiny thumbnails of images. And trying to get people to decide to buy something, often of considerable worth, from a tiny little static image is really quite incredible, particularly in our industry. So you've taken a beautiful lifestyle image of a room, and a consumer is supposed to look at an image about that big on their screen and decide if they want to spend £800 on a bed. So I think we look a lot to fashion in this area to look at how this is changing and improving over time. The example that we often talk about at mydeco and look at for inspiration is ASOS. So ASOS, when you go to their site, they've innovated quite a lot. Almost every single product on their site has a catwalk video so that you can see the product on a real person, see how it moves, get a better sense of the product. That has become so core to their business. It's not a nice to have. That's become so core to their business that their office in London actually has those catwalk studios to create those videos in their office. That's how fundamental the visual aspect of e-commerce is for them. The second thing we talk about is social, and there is no denying the 750 million or